Hello, everybody. Live stream. Very rare these days due to personal stuff and other things going on. But here we are. It's another live stream. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Lots to dive into in regards to the world of football. A lot to dive into in regards to the world of football. As you can tell from the video title, talking Manchester United, we're talking Erik ten Hag, we're talking Liverpool, we're talking Borussia Dortmund, and anything else that you guys want to talk about, anything else that may come up during breaking news, anything that you guys may want to talk about in regards to anything that you guys want to discuss. Either way, we got a lot to dive into. We've got a lot to talk about. Like I say, if you want to join me, you can do. The link is now posted, so you can join me if you want to discuss anything and everything about football. Otherwise, get involved in the chat. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. So please do get involved. It would be great to hear from you all. Without further ado, let's go on with the video. Let's go on with the live stream. I've done a live stream in a while. I'm kind of a bit rusty on it. Kind of forgetting that this is actually a live stream and, not a video that I can just ignore, basically. First and foremost, Erik ten Hag and Manchester United is what we're going to be talking about first up. So, the situation has got dire, even more dire. Eric Dyer. Since obviously we last spoke, United got absolutely battered on Monday. They got beaten, victimized, and conquered by Crystal Palace on Monday. And first and foremost, let me just start by saying that Palace were more than worthy winners. Palace were deserving of that win. They were absolutely amazing throughout the entirety of the game. They ran out 4-0 winners, very much deserved. And I think it does display how quickly a manager can get his hands on a particular team. Now, Man United were terrible. Man United were poor. Man United are injury-riddled, and we'll get onto all of that stuff later on in the video. But it does show you how well drilled Palace are, because Palace looks so much better than they have done in recent weeks and months. And you can tell that Oliver Glasner's really started to really get a hold of this team. And obviously it's still early days, so who knows where this could be. But there's a very big contrast between the old school ways and the old school style of a Roy Hodgson compared to Oliver Glasner, who's a more modern day kind of manager. And I remember saying at the time when Palace did get Oliver Glasner, this could be a pretty underrated piece of business. This could be a pretty shrewd bit of business by Crystal Palace that they have seemingly got their hands on here. And that's seemingly how it's panning out so far. I somewhat hope it continues for the competitive nature of the Premier League. So I'm hoping that that will be the case. But I am very much looking forward to seeing how Palace develop, and I'm very much looking forward to see how Palace react to the key players that they have, because, Palace have got some decent players within their ranks, and I'm just worried for them that obviously a lot of the bigger teams, a lot of the bigger sharks in the ocean are going to come swooping in the summer. Mainly you, Michael Elise. Absolutely brilliant performance. Mateta, Jesus Christ, Mateta. Like, if you'd have said to me, Mateta would be probably the most informed striker in the Premier League right now, I'd have laughed my head off. I'd have told you you're chatting absolute crap. But here we are with Mateta being the most informed striker in the Premier League. That guy is on fire right now. That guy is insane right now. So, yes, very much looking forward to him. Very much looking forward to seeing how Palace develop, how Palace continue to go about their business. I'm sure it's going to be interesting. And we shouldn't get away from the fact that we shouldn't be saying, oh, United were terrible, that's why Palace won. No. Palace won on merit. Palace won because they were deserving and they were very, 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 very good. So fair play to Crystal Palace. Well done to Crystal Palace. 4-0 winners, and deservedly so. Manchester United, though, Ten Hag needs to go. And I say that as a Liverpool fan. Look, every time that I talk about rivals, every time I talk about something other than my own football team, I always caveat it and always put like a bit of a disclaimer out there. And I say, look, I'll say it how I see it from the outside looking in, but I'll always try and be fair, open, honest, and as neutral as I can be. Yes, there may be the odd banterous comment, there may be the odd jokey comment in there, but I'll always try and tackle any sort of thing that happens with a rival club in a fair way, in an open way, and in an honest way, for the most part. I want Ten Hag to stay as a Liverpool fan because they are in no way, shape, or form going to be a threat whilst that manager is in charge. You can make all the changes that you want behind the scenes and everything. This guy, unless he's allowed to play his style of play, implement it with the right kind of players, not necessarily players that he's bought, because them players are a problem right now. He will never get United back to where they want to be. Simple as that. And that's why I can't understand why they would keep him on as manager beyond the rest of the season, regardless of whether he wins an FA Cup or not, which, you know, if Palace are putting 4 goals past you, and if you're struggling against the likes of Coventry as well, Manchester City are going to have an absolute field day at Wembley. An absolute field day at Wembley in order to beat you mercilessly. Absolutely mercilessly. In terms of Ten Hag, you're not going to be a threat unless he's allowed to play the way that he wants. Unless he's obviously going to be sat there and go, nope, we've got data analysts, we've got statistical analysis, we've got better scouts now, we've got better people on the transfer committee. We're going to give you the players and you're going to work with them. And you're going to find out that these are the types of players that will fit your system with the way that you want to play, which is why we brought you over in the first place, because what you showed at Ajax, we kind of wanted. Whether that's actually legit or not remains to be seen. But if there's always going to be big change at Manchester United, that has to be a big change. Letting Ten Hag play the way that he wants, because earlier on this week, he was obviously linked with the Bayern Munich job, and everybody was just laughing. Everyone was just laughing their heads off. I still think there is a decent coach in there with Ten Hag. I just don't think it's a decent coach at United's level for the fan base that they have, the players that they have, the backrooms people that they have, the people in power that they have, and everything else about that club that they currently possess. I don't think he's the right fit. The same way that David Moyes wasn't the right fit for Manchester United, but yet for a team like Everton and for a team like West Ham over the past few years, a team that is low and can only really overachieve, that is where I think his level may be. A place where he can overachieve. Ajax obviously plays that Dutch style of football. That'll be fine. But at the same time, anywhere that he can overachieve, I think this guy would be a worthwhile asset for, shall we say. The only issue that you have with getting rid of Erik Ten Hag is who do you get to replace him with? Now, the managerial market is pretty dry right now. That could obviously change at any given moment, of course, like the transfer market, for example. That can all burst into life and change at any given moment. And especially with the Euros coming up in the summer, there could be a lot of change then too. You never know who's going to leave their Euros post, who's going to go to a national team post. There are other factors there in the works that obviously could change. But the managerial market is dry now. And you know how you know it's dry? It's because teams like Liverpool have gone to their third choice managerial choice in their search for a successor to Jurgen Klopp. Bayern Munich have had a horrific time in trying to replace Thomas Tuchel. Going from sacking Tuchel at the end of the season to then trying to get Xabi Alonso to then getting rejected by Xabi Alonso to then going to Ralf Rangnick to getting rejected by Ralf Rangnick. If a team like Bayern Munich are struggling to find a manager as well, and a suitable one, you know you're struggling. And the managerial market right now for Manchester United, if they were to get rid of Erik ten Hag, is looking pretty dry, both from a realistic point of view and from a progressive point of view. To the point where when you link Gareth Southgate to being your manager, as I've said on this channel, and you can go back and find the video, it's laughable. And as a rival fan, I pray that it happens. Because once again, it's not going to work. It'll be funny to see the likes of Marcus Rashford, Mason Mount, Harry Maguire play week in, week out, them to be tied down to long-term contracts that will see them stay at the club until they're like 40 or 50 odd years old. And then for, average English players to come into Manchester United, the likes of your Calvin Phillipses, for example. Average guys to come in at United and perform in an average way with an average system that is too defensive, too reserved. It would be hilarious. It would be hilarious to watch. But that's the kind of hole they've dug themselves in now. So do you go with Erik ten Hag and see if you can stick it out for another year? Hope that maybe it changes. Hope that maybe it turns around. Or do you sack him and go for a manager who may not be the finished article, for your club, but may lay the foundations for another manager to come in later on down the line in preparation for bigger things to come, and be like, you're going to lay the foundations for the next couple of years, and then we've got an idea and a plan to get one of these two managers in that can build upon the foundations that you lay. Is that going to be the case? Because that seems to be the case right now. That seems to be the only kind of way forward for Manchester United right now, unless you can find a name for me that is going to be the guy to lay the foundations and then build the house on it as well. I'm very much interested to know from Manchester United fans, who do you think this guy is going to be to come in? Because I don't necessarily see a standout name. And the ones that I do see that I like, or would like if I was a United fan, should I say, are unrealistic. Zidane, Simeone, Inzaghi at Inter. I think Inzaghi would be a very good choice. I think Simeone would be the perfect choice. But are they going to come to Manchester United right now? I doubt it. It's unlikely. Even with the pool that Manchester United still have, you're looking at the entire project at United right now and thinking, well, it's a bit of a mess. It's a bit of a shambles. You're going to be entering into the unknown. The pressure's going to be on you right from the beginning. It's a mess. And of course, there are some Man United fans out there that still want to give this guy a time and another chance. And to those United fans, I say, come on here and talk to me, because I can't for the life of me see why you would give Ten Hag another chance unless were a rival fan. I don't understand it. You've gone from being third in the Premier League last season, winning a Carabao Cup, getting to an FA Cup final, to this season being absolutely shambolic, completely abysmal, relying on individual brilliance in key moments within games from the likes of your star players, which are never consistent. They're never there on a reliable basis. They're there in sporadic moments spread out here and there. Finished rock bottom of your Champions League group, exited the Carabao Cup early, made it to an FA Cup final. God only knows how that happened. Again, relying on moments in key games and individual moments of that. No structure, no plan, just seemingly vibes and winging it is basically what I can see from Manchester United. Again, from the outside looking in. I don't understand what more could happen with Manchester United to make it even worse. But I guess they're going to show me in the next few weeks, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be funny to see. I just personally don't understand it, and I don't get it. I really, really don't. I'm interested to know, though, from you lot, who do you think will become the next Manchester United manager? I'm interested to see if there's any Ten Hag inners, other than, of course, rival fans and fans that just think the downfall of Manchester United is funny. I'm interested to know. I'm interested to know people. So do obviously, like I say, get involved in the comments of this video. Do get involved in the chat. Would love to hear from you all in regards to this kind of situation. I just don't understand it at all. And that's why I worry for certain key individuals as well. I don't see a side that is being coached well. I don't see a side that is being managed well. I just see a side that is relying on the individual brilliance of certain key individuals. And that's obviously not a sustainable model. That's not something that you can do going forward that's going to be reliable or consistent. And the way that I see it is the individuals are going to decline and get worse. And United would use their pull to bring in more and more individuals. And they'll be good for about 6 months. And then they'll start to trail off again. Look at Rashford when he first burst onto the scene and how much he's been up and down inconsistently over the past several years. There's been no progression there. There's been no evolution to his game there. It's just been going really high to dropping down low to going high again and having purple patches in between. I've just seen his form snake up and down. Look at Garnacho. Came into the side, about 18 months ago to 2 years? He's been in the side for 18 months to 2 years. Where's his progression? Seriously, tell me where his progression is. Every time I see him, he'll do something that looks decent 1 minute. And then I don't see it again for another few games. Where's his progression? Where's his consistency? And that's why I worry for Kobbie Mainoo. Now, I like Kobbie Mainoo. I shouldn't as a Liverpool fan, but I do. I like the look of him. I like how much of a bit of a swagger and an arrogance that he kind of plays with. I like what I see from Kobbie Mainoo. My issue with Mainoo is for him to progress, he'll have to get out of Manchester United. Unless, of course, there is a miraculous turnaround at that club. Because the coaching is so poor. The coaching is so poor that his progression is only going to recline rather than progress. And that's why I worry for him. Mainly because we've seen it happen with Rashford, Garnacho, and I'm sure United fans can all put in other names as well that will be in the mix of players that fit into that kind of category. of players that have come in, they've looked brilliant when they've come in, and then they've declined, and then they've gone backwards, and then they've kind of fitted into the mold that Man United have currently got of players that play within themselves, play backwards, play poorly. It happens seemingly all the time at that club. And that's why I worry for one Kobbie Mainoo. And it's not even just the players that he brings in. It's from the academy. It's the players he brings in from the transfer window. This guy has spent 400, 500 million at a push on players that are his players. Now, people will tell me in the comments that, oh, he didn't get this guy. He didn't get De Jong. He didn't get this guy. He didn't get that guy. He didn't get Harry Kane. He didn't get this guy. He didn't get that guy. He still went out and gave the seal of approval on the likes of Arne, who looks like he is absolutely terrified every time the ball goes anywhere near him. He still spent the likes of Mason Mount, who I get has been injured for large parts of this season. But even at Chelsea, we said he's an average player. He still spent a lot of money on Rasmus Højlund. Now, I understand with Højlund the argument that he's not getting the service. But we've said with the likes of Harry Kane and Darwin Nunez that you need to make sure you need to get involved in the game more. Every time we see Harry Kane ghost in a big game, we always say like Kane needs to get involved in the game more. He needs to drop deeper. He needs to kind of show for the ball a bit more. Why is it different with Højlund? And don't get me wrong, I like Højlund as well. As a rival, I like Højlund. I like the look of him, and I've said that I rate him, and I think that he could be definitely a striker for the future. But again, if he's not able to express himself, if he's not able to progress, he's going to decline and recline into a player that is going to then be mediocre and average, the same as the rest of the Manchester United squad. And then by the time that you bring in a manager who will progress the squad, who will go on and let them show what they can do and be expressive and be attacking minded and be in a system that is effective and is in a system that runs like clockwork, he won't be able to show what he's got because he'll have spent so many years playing poorly, reclining, declining, whichever word you want to use, that he's not going to be part of that new system anymore. And it goes for a lot of the other players as well. So I understand the argument with Højlund. And I do think that with this being his first season as a, was he 20, 21-year-old, something along their lines, I understand that maybe he does need time. So I give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit, but I still think he deserves some criticism where it's due. Spent money on Anthony. The least said about that, the better for Manchester United fans. What a waste of money that was. You might as well have given me the 85 million and I would have done more than what that guy has done in 2 years. Not that I would ever play for Manchester United. Honestly, if I was given them the dream of playing professional football, but for Man United, I'd be like, no thanks. I'm going to stay right where I am. I can't remember who else. Casemiro. That guy has been retired mentally since the beginning of the season. That guy has just not been with it at all this season. He cannot be bothered. And I said a few weeks ago when he took his penalty against Coventry, that guy was just phoning it in. And I've seen nothing since that has suggested otherwise. That guy is done and dusted as far as being a professional footballer at a very top level goes. And at Manchester United, he's just picking up a paycheck. That is all he's doing right now. 60 million on him. And we said, didn't we, that it's not really a long-term signing, but as far as what it might be for a bit of a stopgap, it may be okay. That stopgap lasted a year. Now he's poor. He's terrible. He looks disinterested. He's looking frustrated. He's looking annoyed. And he's just looking like he wants out of that football club ASAP. That guy's done. Malacia, I don't know what they're doing in terms of the medical department at that club. Where is Malacia? I had to look up his Wikipedia page before obviously doing this live stream to remember who he is, who he plays for, where he's at. I don't know where he is. I don't know what's happened to him. He's disappeared off the face of the earth. The medical department have caused him to disappear off the face of the planet. Don't know where Malacia is. Who cares? It's madness, isn't it? It's an absolute madness from beginning to end as far as what Manchester United are concerned. I know people will then say, well, what about the injuries? What about the injuries? I'm sorry, but everybody else in this Premier League has suffered with injuries. And I know they're part and parcel. And I know sometimes they're unfortunate. And I know that it will only give you so much of leeway in terms of these kinds of debates and obviously going, well, what about the injuries here? But here's the thing. Every club has suffered with injuries. How come every club still looks like they play better football than Manchester United? With or without injuries. Some have been affected more than others. United have been affected more than others. I get that. But United, whether they have injuries or not, are still a shambles. They are still dreadful. They are still completely useless. And yet I've seen my club of Liverpool have injury after injury after injury this season, be forced to play in both kids and inexperienced players, force them into a system, and the system works. Because the system managed to help Liverpool win a Carabao Cup, managed to help Liverpool to challenge for the Premier League before spectacularly messing everything up at the final hurdle, and then obviously challenge in other areas and other competitions as well. I've seen Arsenal have injuries. I've seen Sheffield United, Burnley, Chelsea, Tottenham, Brighton. Everybody's had injuries, but they always look like, with the system in play, that they can manage those injuries to an extent. United can't. United may as well have put out all of their under-16s because they couldn't play any worse than the current senior side that Man United throw out every week, regardless of who it is. They've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka playing at left back, who looks completely useless and a fish out of water. Can't believe people were comparing him to Trent Alexander-Arnold only a few years ago. What an absolute joke of a conversation that was. They've got Diego Dalot, who actually looks a competent footballer, but is that basically because everyone else around him is poor? Only time will tell on that one. Harry Maguire has been your best centre-back all season, mainly down to default and him being the only one that's actually fit enough to play. And secondly, just because everybody else looks so disinterested, only rivaled by a 36-year-old Johnny Evans. Johnny freaking Evans, who wasn't supposed to be playing barely any time this season, and yet he's found himself playing centre-back for the majority of the campaign. Oh my word. Like I say, Casemiro's done. Varane's done. McTominay is... McTominay guy. So it makes him look better than what he is. And again, it's similar to Dalot. It's like everyone else around him is performing terribly. So it makes him look better than what he actually is. It's unbelievable. Marcus Rashford's form has dropped off the edge of a cliff. Ahmad can't get a game over Anthony. What does Ahmad have to do to get a game over possibly one of the worst signings ever in the Premier League? What does Ahmad have to do? Bruno Fernandes is hit and miss. He's in and out. Like I say, Mainu looks solid. I like the guy, but I worry for his development. It's weird. And you know what the worst part is for United fans, and what's going to be the worst part for United fans, is that if this form continues, if Ten Hag does stay, if this carries on into next season, rival fans won't be taking the mick out of you anymore. Rival fans won't be pointing and laughing at you anymore. Rival fans will actually start feeling sorry for you. And that is a really good indicator of where you are as a football club when that starts to happen. That's a really good indicator of where you are as a football club when your rival fans start taking pity on you. It means you're not a threat. It means you're not moving in the right direction. It means no one is scared of you. We just pity how far you've fallen. And that's where I'm starting to feel with United right now. I'm starting to actually pity them rather than laugh at them. I'm actually starting to feel a little bit sorry for them. I shouldn't do as a rival fan, but there's only so much you can do whilst they're down. There's only so much kicking you can do whilst they're down before it starts to feel like, you know what? Maybe we just need to leave them alone for a bit. It's absolutely ridiculous on this whole Man United Erik ten Hag situation. Look, Europa League football is still on the cards, but let's face it, they've got Arsenal at the weekend, and they're going to get absolutely slaughtered. They're going to get absolutely slaughtered by Arsenal at the weekend. No doubt in my mind about it. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. This could be a very good way for Arsenal to repay that 8-2 victory that United fans still talk about from like over 10 years ago. This could be a very good opportunity for revenge on that level, because with the way that Arsenal tear teams apart, I am scared for Manchester United this weekend. And you know what? Some United fans will actually be happy to lose, because obviously it will help Arsenal challenge Manchester City for the title. Obviously, I think the lesser of two evils for United is obviously Arsenal win the title over Manchester City. But at the same time, Europa League football is still there to be played. But with the way that they're playing, they don't deserve it. They're going to be poor in it anyway. They're shocking. And Arsenal are going to rip them apart. Absolutely rip them apart. I'm not going to give my prediction, because that prediction is coming in the predictions video tomorrow. So do check that out when it does drop tomorrow at some point. But yes. It's going to be a massacre. Sunday is going to be a massacre for Manchester United. Odegaard is going to have you on strings. Saka and Trossard are going to just absolutely run riot down the wings. Havertz is going to tie any defensive partnership you have in knots. Declan Rice is going to have the freedom and complete control of the midfield and dominate. The back four is going to be, for the most part, completely unnerved and completely calm, cool, collected, and unfazed by anything and everything that you've got to throw at them. They're going to neutralize everything. And David Raya in goal. Yes, we know that Raya has a mistake in him. But for the most part, David Raya, bring your camping chair, bro. Bring your camping chair. Bring like, I don't know, a puzzle book or something. Bring a newspaper, bring a magazine to read. Bring your phone. Because it's going to be a dominating performance by Arsenal. It's going to be a performance by Arsenal that is going to absolutely put United to the sword. I can't see it happening any other way. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll hold my hands up. But I can't see it happening any other way other than Arsenal to absolutely wipe the floor with these lot. And on one hand, United won't like it because it will be another embarrassment. On the other hand, it will help Arsenal towards their push for the title ahead of their rivals, Manchester City. And like I say, Arsenal and Leicester are two evils in this situation. So I guess they would technically want that in a way. But we shall see how it goes. We shall see how it goes. Bottom line on this part, Man United need to get rid of Erik ten Hag if they want to progress. And if not, I really do worry about them where they're going to end up next season. And I would start taking pity on them if they did. Like I say, there's a lot of changes behind the scenes. It's not going to happen overnight. I get that. It's going to be interesting to see what does happen over the course of the next couple of years or so at United. How they change things. Do they change recruitment? Do they change any of the backroom staff, the coaches, the manager, players? Do they eventually get rid of these players that have been there for a long time and are clearly a massive problem at the club rather than or as well as the manager? It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen at Manchester United going forward. Next, Liverpool, Darwin Nunez and Arne Slot. That is the next talking point on the agenda for today, these three particular topics. We're going to start off with Darwin Nunez first and foremost. Put out a video the other day in regards to Darwin Nunez, in which obviously the overall storyline was that Nunez had deleted his photos of himself and anything Liverpool related from his Instagram pages or his social media side of things after receiving abuse from rival fans. I say rival fans, from any and every fan, from quote unquote fans on social media. And I don't think it was just him that got them. I think his family did as well. I think there were reports that his family had also received them. And I think they were majority of them associated in some way, shape or form with their profile to, I assume, Liverpool Football Club, which is why he went on to do the thing that he did. Not exactly for the reaction of Darwin Nunez in terms of the way that he went about it in deleting the Liverpool photos. It does seem a little bit strange. But if that's the way that he wants to address this and attack this situation, he can do what he likes, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not too bothered in the way that he wants to deal with it. I obviously ranted about these quote-unquote fans that did this because they are not fans, in my opinion. They are obviously people that are doing it for likes, content, attention, the interaction from everybody else. If you do it, you're a moron. If you do it, you're an idiot. If you do that kind of stuff to not just a footballer, but to anybody, you're a moron. You can be critical, Yes, be critical. But like I said on Monday, fans don't sometimes know the line between being critical and being abusive. And some fans do know the line, but still choose to be abusive anyway. Whichever side of the fence you're on in that situation, you're an idiot. You're a moron. You need to get yourself looked at and checked over, because that is just wrong on so many levels. In the past few days, there's been mounting speculation surrounding Darwin Nunez over where his footballing future may lie. Contrasting reports are seemingly saying that Liverpool want to keep him. They're okay with his improvement, his development this season, and they want to see how he'll work with the new manager coming in. Others say that he may be on the lookout to leave after, obviously, the events of these past few weeks, and of course, snowballing with obviously what happened in regards to the abuse that he suffered at the hands of, again, quote unquote, fans of the club. I'm somewhat on the fence by this, because I know there's been mounting speculation linking him with a move to Barcelona. Robert Lewandowski's not exactly getting younger. They're going to look for someone else. And a 24/25-year-old Darwin Nunez is obviously going to be someone that they can have for the present and for the future of Liverpool, of Barcelona. So I understand where it will come from. He's not a terrible striker. He has shown glimpses of why we bought him. He's shown glimpses of why he was obviously one of the most sort of strikers in world football after Erling Haaland a couple of years ago. He's obviously had moments in a Liverpool shirt which have seemingly suggested that he's arrived, he's here, he's starting to really come into his own at this club. He's really starting to show why we forked out so much money for him. And then his form, for one reason or another, has simply dropped off the edge of a cliff at certain points. Look, I see the improvement of Darwin Nunez this season. I've said that time and time again. I see the way that he's improved his goal contributions. I see that the improvement he's made in his overall play. My issue is he doesn't have the composure in front of goal to get them goal contributions even higher than what they currently are. And he hasn't shown that in the past 2 years. And that composure links in with his consistency. And when those two things are not clicking together, that's where you've got a problem. And if he hasn't unlocked it after a couple of years, he's never going to unlock it. That's my worry and my fear with him. He has shown he has the potential to do so. He has shown he has got the potential to stand up when it matters most. He's shown that when he is on form, he can be unstoppable and he can be an absolute nightmare for any defense, regardless of who you are, regardless of how watertight your defense may seem. He has shown that he can be a menace to any defensive outlet. But he doesn't show it on a consistent enough basis to the point where he's not scoring enough. His output is not enough. Same with Luis Diaz. All the tools, all the gear, but when it comes to sticking the ball in the back of the net, very little idea. And that's why I worry for Nunez overall. I worry. I really do worry. I would strongly consider selling him this summer. I'd strongly consider selling him this summer. I think I think that after 2 years, if you're not showing any kind of consistent form, it's probably best off that you go. We don't want to be hanging around and being like, oh, maybe this could be the year, and then we lose another year. Especially with Mohamed Salah entering the final year of his deal. Especially with Virgil van Dijk not getting any younger. Especially with Alisson not getting any younger either. Trent Alexander-Arnold about to enter the prime of his career. Alexis McAllister being in his mid-20s as well. Some of these key players, football is a very short game, and we can't be hanging around on players that definitely have the potential, but haven't shown it in recent years to the point where we're like, maybe this could be his year. Maybe this could be his year. We can't be hanging around for that. We need to be ruthless, and we need to be, and we need to be ruthless and relentless in terms of our pursuit of the next big thing. Obviously, we're entering into the unknown with a new manager. We're entering into a new era with Arne Slot at the helm. It'll be interesting to see how he is going to be with the club, how he's going to be with certain players. Does he like certain players instantly? Does he see certain players not being part of his plans? Obviously, it's going to be a massive summer for Liverpool in terms of that aspect and who he obviously sees being part of his plans. I think Cody Gakpo will definitely be involved. That Dutch connection, maybe. I'm interested to see what will happen. I think Nunez will be a part of things. But I think, if I'm being completely honest with myself, if I had the opportunity to sell him and the right price came in for him, I'd go for it. I would go for it. And again, I like everything that he possesses. I like his speed. I like his strength. I like his aerial ability. I like his passion. I like his work rate. I like his constant improvement. But it's his composure and his consistency which go hand in hand in front of goal that I cannot overlook. I can't overlook that. And that's the biggest worry for me, is that if this guy hasn't unlocked it by now, 2 years after signing him, with him being in his mid-20s, I don't think we'll ever get there fully. And he's a very good striker, but he's not at the level or caliber that Liverpool need right now. He'd be great for a Tottenham. He'll be great for an Aston Villa. He'll be great for any kind of side that is looking to challenge for Champions League, any kind of side that will be in cup competitions and wanting to get far. He'll be good for those kinds of teams. But if Liverpool want to continue to maintain a sort of top level, if Liverpool are looking to be challenging for the major honours, they need to be a bit more relentless and find someone who is going to be putting away those chances that when they matter most. Not just doing it when we're 3-4-0 up, just doing it when it matters most. Because that's one of the critical things I have about Nunez. Like, don't get me wrong, there are examples of him coming up trumps and coming up top when, when we need it most and when obviously we need a goal. Nottingham Forest in a 99th minute springs out instantly when I say that. But I'm talking about the games against Manchester United. I'm talking about the game against Luton in which we drew 1-1. I'm talking about the games in which this season have cost us. Palace, Everton, all of those games in which he's had chances and he's just not taken them. And he's not the only one. I'm not scapegoating him by any stretch of imagination. Salah's also been poor in recent weeks. Luis Diaz is another one on that kind of list of players that I like. Players that are nice to look at. Very, very good on the ball. Have all the tools to make it in the position he's in. But are just don't have that killer instinct in them. Not cold enough in front of goal. And that's my worry. That is my worry with both of these. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens with these two. Like I say, though, I'm leaning more towards selling him. And I think it would do him the world of good as well. I think it would do him the world of good as well. So I think it'll be best for both parties. I think Liverpool get a bit of money for him. They can move on and they can look at putting that money to good use elsewhere. Nunez can move on. He can go to Spain or wherever he's going, and he can obviously move on himself. And it will go for Barcelona, who will get a replacement for Robert Lewandowski, if that is to be the case of where he wants to go. So we'll see. We shall see on all of that. It's going to make for interesting reading. Elsewhere with Liverpool, Arne Slot. I wanted to gauge your guys' thoughts and comments and opinions on this one. It's got a little bit quiet, admittedly, because obviously we're coming towards the end of the season and there's no real rush, but it does seem like this is a done and dusted deal. We're just waiting for official confirmation, which I don't think will come until the end of the campaign. So, yeah, no, I don't think there's any need to worry. No one's given us any indication to worry, but I just wanted to gauge your opinions and feelings on Arne Slot. Good appointment? Bad appointment? On the fence? Let me know, because, like I say, I'm not exactly the most enthusiastic about this. I'm not exactly going to be leaping off my seat and jumping for joy on this one. But at the same time, I'm sort of looking at the Slot appointment and going, there could be potential there. There could definitely be potential there. But I just don't know. I just don't know if he's going to be the right guy. A lot of talk about how into detail the Liverpool hierarchy has gone. How the Liverpool hierarchy have gone into all this. A lot of talk about how much detail they put into it, how much time and effort they put into it. It puts me in, it eases my fears a little bit when they say stuff like that. But are they just saying it because, it will do that? Or are they saying it because they genuinely did it? I just want to know that kind of thing, which obviously we won't know until later on down the line. Yeah, just wanted to gauge your guys' thoughts and feelings and opinions on this in particular. So I'm very much interested to know what you guys think and feel on Arne Slot. Yeah, I'm just very interested into all of that and how you think or who you think will become important players for next season. Who you think will become important players for Arne Slot next season? Whether they're going to be incomings or whether they're going to be already at the club or whether they're going to be brought up from the academy. I'd love to know what you guys think and feel on all Arne Slot kind of thing. So, yeah. If it was Arne Klopp, Jesus Christ, that would be interesting. But yeah, I'm interested to know what you guys think and feel. I just on Liverpool as well. I just wanted to touch upon the end of the season stuff. I talked about it a lot in my match reactions. Third, in a season in which we were expected to get back into the Champions League, we've achieved our goal. I think in hindsight, you could maybe argue that we could have or should have done more. We kind of fell apart at a key time, at a non-negotiable kind of falter and margin of error time. Yeah, we fell apart when it mattered most, unfortunately. And that just shows you the margin of error that you've got now in the Premier League. It's unfortunate. It's annoying. You do go back to certain games and think, what if we had took those chances? Mainly, like I said earlier, Manchester United and Luton instantly spring to my mind. Yeah, it's one of them annoying things, which obviously we'll talk about more and more as the season continues to dwindle down and play its way into its final couple of games. But yeah, it's a bit annoying, but we shall see. And kind of the final talking point of today, Dortmund make the Champions League final. And I, for one, could not be any happier for Borussia Dortmund. I am so happy for the German outfit to be making it into the Champions League final this year. An incredible achievement by all involved, and I really hope they go on and win it now. I think if they face Bayern, I think they will win it. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and say that if it's going to be Bayern, I think they win it. If it's Real Madrid, and obviously we'll only find out tonight who they will meet at Wembley in the final, I may be looking more towards Madrid winning a 15th Champions League title. Obviously, we'll see tonight who Dortmund will face, but for right now, give Dortmund their flowers, give Dortmund their absolute credit. Across 180 minutes of the two legs, Dortmund were absolutely incredible, absolutely brilliant. 1-0 on the night. Mats Hummels, of all people, getting the only goal of the game, the goal that really put the game to bed. PSG had their moments, but were not clinical enough in front of goal to take them. Dortmund rode their luck at times a little bit, but that was to be expected, and you obviously have to do that at certain points. But what an incredible achievement it is by Dortmund to make it through to a Champions League final. An absolutely incredible moment for everybody involved. What a moment it is for some of those players as well. Jadon Sancho. Another point against Erik ten Hag is just how much of an embarrassment Jadon Sancho is making him look right now. He is going to be playing in a Champions League final, and he potentially could be a Champions League winner by the end of this. What an incredible story that would be. It'd be interesting as well because there's going to be an Englishman in the final regardless now, isn't there? In terms of Sancho's going to be there. Is he going to be joined by Harry Kane, or is he going to be joined by Jude Bellingham? So it's going to be very interesting from an England point of view as well on those three players. And obviously that will be down to 2 tonight, depending on who wins between Bayern and Real Madrid, which I'm going to go Real Madrid. I think with the game pretty much starting off at 0-0 tonight, after obviously what was a 2-2 draw in the first leg, I think with it being at home for Real Madrid, it's going to be Madrid. I think it'll be Madrid. I think they just have a way in these games of just turning up when it matters most and standing up when it matters most. We saw that in the previous leg against Manchester City. They weren't exactly great in that leg against Manchester City, but they still managed to come out on top on penalties. They just have a mentality in this competition that is phenomenal, and that is absolutely legendary. So fair play to them. I think they will get through tonight, and I think they will meet Borussia Dortmund at Wembley for the final of the 2024 Champions League. So I think that's what we've got to look forward to. I'm hoping it's Bayern because I think that Dortmund will win if it is Bayern. I think that they will win if it is going to be Bayern Munich. But yes, give Dortmund absolutely enormous amounts of praise. Jadon Sancho could become a Champions League winner, which I don't think he was probably expecting at the beginning of the season. Ian Maatsen probably should be playing for Chelsea right now, but you know, again, another one that's went out on loan, went to Dortmund, and is now playing in a Champions League final ahead of his former club. I'm happy for everybody involved. Schlotterbeck looked great last night. Mats Hummels, absolutely phenomenal. Such a solid, fully experienced defender. Absolutely brilliant. I like the look of Karim Adeyemi as well. I thought he was brilliant across both legs as well. Sabitzer looks solid. Fulkrug looks very, very good. Brandt as well. Solid. But there's one person in particular that I want this more for anybody else, and that is, of course, Marco Reus. He's going to be playing his final game for Borussia Dortmund, or he's going to be involved, shall I say. He might not actually play, of course. He normally starts on the bench these days, but he's going to be involved in his final game for Borussia Dortmund in this fixture. And I pray and I hope, as far as what he is concerned, that he wins it. I am so hoping Marco Reus wins the Champions League on his final game for Dortmund. I'm praying, I'm hoping. I want it for him more than anyone else. I want it for him more than anybody else. I've always liked Reus. I think that he probably should have moved a lot sooner, but I have enormous amounts of respect for obviously playing out his career with Dortmund and obviously staying loyal to Dortmund. I think that is a massive sign of respect and obviously loyalty to the club. I just want it for him. If he can have like some sort of Didier Drogba moment in which he maybe scores a winning penalty in a penalty shootout, or maybe he comes on the pitch with like 10 minutes to go and absolutely just scores a 40-yard screamer or something like that to win the game, that would be the icing on the cake as far as what Reus is concerned and as far as what everybody's concerned. But I've always backed the underdog. I've backed them pretty much since the semi-final, with the exception being, well, I say I backed them. I didn't think they'd get past PSG, to be fair. I thought PSG would take it back to Paris and get through, but no, full credit to Dortmund, full credit to everybody else. I'm really hoping and praying now that Dortmund do go on and win it. I'm hoping that they do. I love an underdog story. I think it'll be amazing for the manager as well. It'll be amazing for the whole team as well, especially with, coming so close last season to winning the Bundesliga title and then falling short with about a few minutes to go because, they kind of tripped over themselves in the final game of the season when they had all the advantage going for them. They just needed to win that final game to go on and be crowned champions. I think it would be brilliant if they were to go that one step further and become champions this time around and to win the Champions League in this kind of manner. And I think it'd be even more poetically done as well. I've said this time and time again, if it was to be that they beat if they beat Bayern Munich in the final. I've said it time and time again on these kinds of videos and streams that Dortmund to beat Bayern Munich in the final at Wembley in a replay of the 2013 final at Wembley in the Champions League between those two German outfits. Bayern won on that night. Dortmund lost and have lost to Bayern ever since when it comes to Bundesliga titles and everything. So I think it will be beautifully poetic if not only were Bayern to lose the Bundesliga title to Bayer Leverkusen this season, which of course they have done, so that's one down, and then they were to lose the Champions League to Borussia Dortmund, for Dortmund to win it for the second time in their history. I think that would be incredible. I think that would be amazing and phenomenal. And I'm hoping that will be the case. I'm really hoping that will be the case. But we'll obviously have to wait and see on that one. Dortmund were amazing across both legs. And now they can put their feet up and they can watch Real Madrid and Bayern Munich battle it out in Madrid tonight. Who's your money on? Who do you see advancing? What do you make of tonight's game? I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, all on that stuff in the comments and in the chat. I'd love to know what you guys think and feel on that one. Who do you see advancing tonight? Is it going to be the 14-time winners of Real Madrid, or will it be Bayern Munich who are looking to make another final and to win it for the first time since 2020? Would love to know what you guys think and feel all on that. I'm sure it's going to make for all interesting and great reading. As is everything, we've been going for over an hour now. I'm going to end it there. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. Appreciate it all. Please, if you're watching after we've been live, please feel free to still use that comment section as you please on anything that I have talked about or anything that you guys want to talk about for a future live stream or video. Would be great and make for interesting reading, I'm sure. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. Both things are always and probably greatly appreciated. Would love to hear from you all on all of that, and obviously any of that stuff will make for great reading as well. Dortmund made it through to the final. Epic stuff. Love it. Erik ten Hag out. Keep an eye on Darwin Nunez. cautiously optimistic, cautiously looking over for Arne slot at Liverpool. Those are just some of the key points from today's video, basically to sum it all up. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you all for taking part, and thank you all for taking time today to watch me. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks live stream, and I'll soon speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you all again very, very soon.